It's the final game at Villa Park for the 2025-26 season, and there could hardly be more riding on it. It's 4th versus 5th. The winner will secure Champions League football next season. It's Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Villa with the biggest night in a generation, just 5 days away in the Europa League final. And a win today would see Villa head to Istanbul full of momentum. For the final time this season, this is Matchday live from Villa Park. Welcome along to Matchday Live, as I say, from a quite blustery Friday evening here at Villa Park. Of course, this game rescheduled as a result of the Europa League final on Wednesday. My name is Kate Tracy, alongside me Alan McAnally and Ahmed El Mohammadi. You were speaking Egyptian then, we were catching some of it over the mic to your friend Mohamed Salah. How is he?
Yeah, he's all right. He's back now, but he's not starting, which is good for us. He
loves scoring against us.
He scored in every game played against us, Alan, you know, home and away. Yeah, he's been magnificent, you know.
He's been terrific, hasn't
he? He's been magnificent. So he was injured, you know, he had like something in his hamstring, but he's back now. He might play last 15-20 minutes, you know, and he's getting himself ready for the final game for himself, for the club, against Brentford, you know, next week. So yeah, he's been unbelievable. As an Egyptian, so proud of him, you know, what he achieved in the Premier League and with Liverpool Football Club. So I just wish him all the best for his next step.
It was quite emotional, actually, wasn't it? Just looking at him and Andy Robertson stood there together. They were the only two Liverpool players actually left on the pitch who came out and just took in their surroundings there. It was quite emotional.
It is, yeah. You know, played with both of them, you know, Andy Hull and Mo with the national team as well. So both of them has been great serving for Liverpool Football Club. It's sad to see, you know, players leaving when they achieved a big thing with their team. So they're gonna be missed in the Premier League. So just wish them both. It's not usual for Salah, you know, to come out to just have a look on the pitch, you know, before the game. So I just asked him. He said, last 2 games I have to make the most of it. So yeah, it's just emotional for him.
Yeah, there's going to be so many storylines, so many narratives today. I always ask you every single show. I always say, how are you feeling? And of course, I'm always interested in your answer in general. Yeah. However, I am really interested today. Are you focused on today? Are you allowing yourself to think ahead to Wednesday? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you apprehensive? What are you?
I can't wait for Tuesday morning.
Oh,
because that means I'm flying to Istanbul.
Yeah.
Listen, had it not been Liverpool, I suppose a lot of people that are going to come tonight and support the lads to get a positive result. It's difficult not to think about ahead because we've got such a huge match against Freiburg on Wednesday night. And I was speaking to Andy Robertson when he came out there. And he went, what about tonight, big man?
You're speaking Scottish, yeah?
Yeah, I said, what about tonight? I said, look, I think I'm coming to the Brazil game in Miami. He went, oh, brilliant. Obviously, because Scotland play Brazil in Miami, rather than speaking about the game this evening. But it's, I'm feeling good, I must admit. Having said that, the Burnley game, I was a bit disappointed with the result more than anything else, obviously, because it's somewhere we could have put the thing to bed. It'll be interesting to see the manager's team tonight.
Yes.
You know, I know we made a few changes for the Spurs game, but we did have a huge match, obviously, coming up for that Thursday evening against Nottingham Forest, where we got just and it was an unbelievable night in here. I hope there's a big crowd. I hope there's a lot of noise to try and get the lads over the line here, because let's face it, Liverpool haven't been great, and without Mo Salah in the team, they're definitely not as good. They're still a very good team. It's still Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah.
But we have an opportunity tonight with home advantage to hopefully get a positive result.
It's tricky to know exactly what emotions to weigh up for today going into this game, because so much is riding on this. The fact that we are both level on points, the exact same amount of wins, the exact same amount of draws, the exact same amount of losses. They're ahead of us on goal difference, but whoever wins tonight secures Champions League football. It almost feels like that massive part and aspect has just kind of slipped by the narrative.
Absolutely, you know, it's a big game for both clubs, you know, especially for us. Final game of the season at home. It's great for the fans before the final as well. So it's going to be, you know, tricky for the manager and the players. You think about tonight, you think about Wednesday. So the manager is experienced enough, you know, to deal with this situation. So I think he's going strong tonight. You know, he's thinking about securing the Champions League from here at Villa Park. before the final against Freiburg on Wednesday. So final home game as well. He needs to finish the season well. Last home game here in the Premier League wasn't that great.
Do you think, Elmo, this is a bigger game for Liverpool than it is for us?
Yes, I do.
Just because of the manager's situation, the way they've played, it's been a poor defence of the title.
Yeah, they haven't been great. It's not the same like last year. A lot of things, the situation between Salah and the manager, the situation between some players didn't perform like they did last year. So it's an off season for them, but they want to finish in the Champions League place, which is today's opportunity for them as an opportunity for us today. But it's bigger for us because you got a final on Wednesday and you have to have some confidence before going to this final as well. Yes, the game against Burnley, the result, at the end of the day, you got a point away from home. Yes, it's a relegated team, but you played against Nottingham Forest and you put a lot of effort in that Thursday night. A lot of players were tired. The manager didn't make a lot of changes, so you expect that some tiredness. So today it's an opportunity for us to get a result, to get 3 points and secure the Champions League, and just give some confidence for everyone, for players, for the fans before going to Istanbul on Wednesday.
There's a different narrative inside me.
I wanted to ask that.
Well, the point I was going to talk about just when Elmo was speaking about something there about us trying to get a good result tonight. The Spurs game was a specific game, and that's why the manager made changes, because we had such a huge semi-final, and the manager's record in semi-finals in that competition is unrivaled. Tonight, as a player, I'm chapping his door saying, I want to play, boss.
Yeah.
I want to play, I want to score. The goalkeeper wants a clean sheet, the midfield wants to keep the ball, defensively we want to be good, to take the momentum into a huge game. So if I'm a player, I am absolutely saying, don't rest me tonight, forget about getting injured, forget about it, I want to play tonight. Yeah. And that's what I hope some of the other lads have said to him, just in case he's maybe thinking about tinkering with the team. But listen, we know we're strongest team, and I hope every one of them are ready to go tonight.
Do you want to know if they have tinkered with it?
I can't wait to see the team.
Drum roll, please. Yeah, we're going to start with Liverpool, though.
Okay.
One change for Liverpool from last time out, and this is how they line up. Mamardashvili is in goal, with Alisson, of course, still on the sidelines. Milos Kerkez at left back, Virgil van Dijk alongside Konate, who we weren't entirely sure exactly where he was fitness-wise, but he does get that start. Joe Gomez right back, McAllister and Gravenberch in the heart of midfield. Rio Engamoa, Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai are going to be the danger men, and Cody Gakpo up top. As you can see, Florian Wirtz, who we didn't know exactly his fitness levels either, he is on the bench. Mohamed Salah also on the bench as well. Andy Robertson, of course, who is also signing off from Liverpool this season, is also on the bench. So one change for Liverpool, 3 changes for Aston Villa. Emi Martinez in goal as always, Matty Cash at right back alongside Ezri Konsa, Pau Torres, Luca Dean at left back, Yuri Tielemans alongside Victor Lindelof. What a stroke of genius that was, moving him into midfield. John McGinn, Emi Buendia, Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins up top, and a strong bench there as well for those potential changes. Right, should we start with Aston Villa then, lads? I know, Alan, you've literally just seen it for the first time now, so just trying to take it all in.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate changes today? Or I know you were talking about this being such a big game, so are you pleased to see that?
I wasn't worried, but I think the manager has realised how big a game this is as well. It is, of course, our last home game of the season here. But I'm loving the team. I'm absolutely loving it. I really am. With Watkins playing, McGinn's the captain, driving, Konsa, Torres. Lindelof has done absolutely nothing wrong. I know he got taken off after 72 and on Sunday. But certainly he might be just as big a player for us as he was last Thursday as he might be against Liverpool tonight. But that's a really strong team, and I'm absolutely delighted, A, because we're definitely going to be going for this, and B, what you quite rightly said, if we win this, then we can really look forward to Wednesday night in Istanbul, because we'll have already secured Champions League football.
Yeah, and full of momentum then as well. Yeah. We know Unai Emery wears his team on his sleeve pretty much, Elmo, doesn't he? Where you see the lineup and you know exactly what to expect from Villa from one match to the next. So do you like that?
Yes, of course. Expected, everyone is starting tonight. It's a big player for the team. So talking about Lindelof, he was absolutely outstanding on that game against Nottingham Forest. Yeah. He did very well, different position, holding midfield, but he was outstanding. He was one of the best players on that night. Maybe he played 70-75 minutes, but he was outstanding. So playing centre half tonight, alongside Konsa as well, which is something the manager rotated a lot, in the last few months. So it's expected, the others picking themselves. Talking about John McGinn leading the team today is going to be a big game for him before the final as well. Make sure that give some confidence to the fans, tonight. Make sure you finish the season well at home, before you go into Istanbul on Wednesday. So a lot of things, to think about before that game tonight. So I think the manager did the right thing, picking the strong side.
There's a modicum of pressure on us to a certain extent, Kate, for the simple reason that we didn't beat Burnley. We didn't get a result we wanted against Spurs. And in between that, they had a performance that was just unbelievable. The noise in here was extraordinary that night. It genuinely was. And that's the only thing I would think about. We need to finish more on a high, not necessarily for Wednesday night, but just for the end of the season. There's no, I don't remember any time being a player thinking last home game of the season, we want to win that. Yeah. We want to look back and make sure we've won that. And the fact that it's Liverpool's, the visitors, just puts a little added spice into it. And obviously we've said already, they haven't had the best defence of the title. They've not been playing particularly well. But where the biggest thing that the problem for them is defensively. Mm-hmm. And we have been really good going forward. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with Ollie Watkins, etc., tonight.
Because that was the change. I was trying to figure it out, which their one change was. And of course, it's Frimpong moving out of the starting 11 and Joe Gomez therefore coming in. So Curtis Jones, he played at right back for last game, and so so
I'm happy with that.
How exactly
to be fair to Frimpong, honestly, I can remember watching Leverkusen quite a lot when he was at when Frimpong was at Leverkusen, and he did a great job. He actually had the whole right hand side to himself. They almost played three defenders and wing backs at Leverkusen, and it kind of suited him down to the ground. For whatever reason, it just hasn't worked for him. So to be honest, and I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Gomez, he's a good player, but I think defensively he gives you a chance. So I'm actually quite enjoying the fact that Arne Slot has gone with Gomez, because I think if I'm in the dressing room, I'm saying to Elmo, you can take him. You can absolutely take him and put him under as much pressure as you can, because I think he's an area that will hopefully we can get a mistake out of and get something from.
Do you agree with that sole change for Liverpool?
Yes, they listen. This season it hasn't worked out for them. He changed it a lot, taking Szoboszlai from the midfield, putting him at right back a lot of times this season. I think this is the biggest mistake, for him. Trent leaving, he was one of the best right backs in the world, when he was at Liverpool. So didn't replace him in the right player. So it cost them a lot, So a lot of players out of form as well. Like I said, problems between the manager and players. It affected them a lot. So I think they got lucky, this season, if they're gonna get a Champions League place, because a lot of other teams, played better than Liverpool, who deserves to be in this position. But it's still a big club, like Alan said. It's a Liverpool Football Club. It's massive fan base. So I think for Arne Slot, for him, I know he won the league last season, but this season, it didn't work out for him because he signed a lot of players in the summer.
450 million.
Huge money in the summer, and he tried to put his hands on the team. Last season I think he took it from Jurgen Klopp. Same team, played the same system, won the league. And Mo Salah was one of the best players in the world at the last season. This season he's trying to put his hand on the team, tried to sign a lot of players, big names. Didn't work out for them, So it's a lot of things, to be asked the manager, but they're still in a good position to finish in the Champions League. So it's a huge game for them tonight before playing Brentford next week.
We saved the punchiest Elmo till last, haven't we? This is great.
He's on fire tonight.
I know, I'm absolutely loving this.
That's because you've been speaking Egyptian for 2 hours.
Oh,
yeah. We were trying to tune in, but then
I got a bit of magic from him. So
yeah, that's it. I know. And then I was trying to understand you speaking Scottish to Andy Robertson. I was lost in translation for both of your
discussions. You've got a better chance of knowing what he's speaking in Egyptian.
Exactly, that's it. I should have tuned in for that one more so. Right, we're going to do a deeper dive on Liverpool in due course. We've actually got some really poignant questions, which I know Elmo's going to answer me now. But should we have a look at Burnley then?
Yeah.
And cast our minds back to that. So, Alan, your overall impressions. We're going to have a look back at the couple of goals for Barkley and Ollie Watkins, of course. But what were your overall impressions of the game watching on?
Well, right, for starters, I was disappointed with the end result, obviously. And certainly they score first. And I don't like, honestly, that ball into the, when we score, I was like, well, okay, that should set the lads down a little bit. Because it's a big game for Burnley, after all. They're already down. And we've had such a season, they're thinking, don't like, we'll send them home with a bloody nose. Yeah. And, and then all of a sudden, everything's going quite...
Set piece as well, Alan.
And set piece, yeah. And we've been great at that, Elmo, to be fair.
McPhee FC.
Yeah. But then there's a couple of individual mistakes that we don't normally see from players, and then and it was just one of it was. Do you know something? It was never a game I was watching for 90 minutes. I was particularly comfortable with all the time. And I know we were leading it 2-1, and I was like, well, okay, with a bit of luck, that should just get us over the line. And then, obviously, we make another mistake, and unfortunately, they bag a goal, Elmo.
Yeah, I think, the start of the game, we didn't start well.
No.
Bit slow,
I mean, I like, see even this long ball down the middle for Ollie. Ollie does brilliant here.
Yeah, Amy, it's a great ball from Amy, to start with, and then, Ollie finishes very well. But it's one of the game you just think, take the points and just go home.
Yeah.
Think about Liverpool and the final as well.
Do you think it was
I want to give the guys an excuse, and I want to stick up for them. And when we've played in games sometimes and you've come away with a draw,
away from home
yeah. but you're better than them, you're like, what could I have changed? Could I have given a bit more today? No, I gave my best. Did things not go for us? Sometimes, but not, just as in football, sometimes you're sitting in the bus going home thinking, that's a mystery, that.
Yeah.
That's just honestly a mystery.
Do you think it was a bit of hangover from the midweek game?
Yes, I do, yeah. It's a bit tiredness,
I guess trying to get yourself up again.
Thursday night was massive for the football club, and the players give everything. I think he's one of the best performers under Unai Emery here, at Villa Park. So they were tiredness. The manager didn't rotate a lot, maybe 1 or 2 changes, but was a lot of players tired. Like Alan said, it's just take the points and just go home, think about the next game, because this week is massive for this football club.
What do I always say to you when we're sitting watching the game? If we're not going if we're not going to win it, we're not getting beat.
Yeah.
Right, so just for instance, let's go back to the Fulham game away from home. Is a perfect example.
Yeah.
We've just come off a European match. Was it European? No, we played Sunderland.
Yes.
The previous, I think it was. Anyway, we go to Fulham, and I'm saying to you, the biggest thing for us today is not get beat.
Yeah.
I'll take a 0-0, I'll take a 10-10, whatever it might be. And we just didn't quite manage to do that. And that put us under a little bit of pressure from Unai to kind of rock the boat a little bit with the team he picked against Spurs. Yeah. And again, we didn't manage to go over the line. I'm saying to you, the biggest thing is, we can take a bad performance, we can take an unlucky bounce, try and not get beat. You're picking up a point's a lot different than staring down the barrel at a 1-0 or a 2 or whatever against Spurs. So I think Elmo's quite right. I know we might not have played fantastically well. We put ourselves in a fantastic position, but at the back of your mind, there's something that's going to happen for this football club that could be humongous. And not only for that, for the players themselves to look back in years gone by saying,
history,
we won a European league, we won a European trophy. So it's a toughie, but they did what I said to you about it. Said, look guys, if you're going to go, don't get beat, and they didn't. So you have to go, okay, fair enough. And you can't give the boys too much stick, and it's hard as fans to go, well, we should beat them. I know. But that's not, that football just doesn't work like that, especially when you get to this part of the season when you've already seen some of the results that have been going round.
And of course, Yuri Tielemans, he actually said that to us on the podcast last year. He said
did.
It was so hard after a Champions League game to go in then on the Saturday and to get yourself up for it again. And it probably just puts into context how much atmosphere does matter, actually putting it into your heads who are out on the pitch, that you actually do get lifted by atmosphere.
But I think if you look at this season, we did much better than last season. After the Champions League last season, we were struggling a big time. This season, until maybe February, we did very well. Every game after the European night, we did well. We got the results, 3 points. But after that, you get in late stage of the season, and you find yourself, a lot of players injury. At this period of time as well, Tielemans, McGinn, Kamara, a lot of players was injured. So as a manager, you find yourself in a situation. I don't have much to rotate. I don't have a lot of players to rotate. So you just catch you on one point, and I think maybe in the last 2 months catch those after the European night. But against Burnley, I think 1 point. It's a good point for us. Yes, it's maybe a couple of mistakes, but you take that and you just go home. You think about tonight. It's a massive game for us, final home game of the season, and it's going to be full capacity tonight. Just give the fans confidence before Wednesday night.
Should we have a look back at a happier result then? Nottingham Forest.
Oh wow!
And Elmer, you said the atmosphere here was like nothing you've ever experienced.
The best.
How actually was it from your point of view?
Before the game, you can hear the noise. When the team arrived, you can see the fireworks outside. You can see the noise of the fans, and from the first minute, when this, Europa League anthem, played, the fans were absolutely magnificent. I know we played big teams last year here in the Champions League, Bayern Munich, PSG, Celtic, but that night, against Forest was the best atmosphere I ever witnessed as a player, as a fan, sitting in the stand. Witness at Villa Park, it was absolutely outstanding. From the first minute, the fans, back the lads, they make the noise, they make everything right, and the lads just took the advantage of that. It was not the 12th player, it was the first player, on the pitch on Thursday night. So make sure. Same again tonight. Same again tonight. Make sure that Villa Park, every team coming here, they know they're coming here. You're going to have a difficult time.
I love that. Not the 12th man, the first man, because it was nervy going into the game as well, as a result of Spurs, because no one really had any idea how Villa were going to turn it on to that extent, but yet they were able to. And fair play to all of the fans for being able to lift them, as Elmer
There was
said.
a momentum in the stadium that I haven't had for ages, and a momentum, and I mean it literally built up to almost a crescendo when John scores the goal, and honestly it was incredible, it really was. But you're right, there was a doubt, and there was that nagging just thought of the memory of the game at the City ground against Forest. There's a little bit added gold dust, I always say, about something in the game. The place was full of Nottingham Forest fans, not too many of them, obviously 2,000 something, who are just down the road, so that was that kind of jeopardy in the game as well. And it was incredible, it really was. And we played so, apart from Elmo's right, the noise was amazing, the momentum was incredible, but the guys played one of those games that they'll look back on going, oh my God, if we play that tonight, we'll beat Liverpool. I'm telling you now, if we play anything like that, and we have this lot behind them making that kind of noise, we'll beat Liverpool tonight. But you can't, we'll draw it back a little bit, and we know this is going to be a difficult game, but it'd be nice not to lose the game and take that momentum into Wednesday.
Do you have a look back at the goals? I'm not sure, because we can't quite see on monitor here if we have actually looked back at those Forest goals yet, but we'll have a look back now, and just to relive some of these moments.
He does well there, Buendia, doesn't he?
The clever feet of balance.
It's a magic from Buendia, But if you see that 5 minutes before that, when Oli Watkins went down, he was bleeding. And then he put that bandage on his head. He looked like a butcher, and he was just like, he was everywhere. Alan, when someone just hits you on the head, and you trying to be like, running everywhere and that. And this was Oli, after he went down. And absolutely magic from Buendia, Oli in the right place. This is a striker, in the right place, in the right time, and just stick it in. And then penalties. We've been struggling in penalties. A lot of players taking penalties, missed it and that. We didn't have a Premier League penalty this season, only in Europa League. And then Buendia stepped up. Listen, it's not easy. It's not easy, a lot of crowd, a lot of fans. It's a decided moment for himself, but confidence, confidence. And then Super John McGinn, he did what he does, just sticking that, in the far corner.
Well, that's the last goal we're getting, but the first goal was an absolute beauty.
Third and fourth were exactly the same, just pass it in that corner, but this is confidence, After 2-1, everyone got confidence, the crowd, the fans, the atmosphere played a massive part, and then by then, it was game over.
And I haven't really mentioned him specifically, but I thought Morgan did well for both of those goals as well. And I know he didn't get a goal, it wasn't his best game for us, but where he was going and the positions he was taking up, he was making sure it was making space for other people. But I've got to say, I agree with what Elmo just said there. The penalty so early in the second half, to take it with exactly the confidence he took it with, was a huge thing for us. And to be honest, I think we could have turned the lights out and gone home there, because that killed Forest. That was it, done and dusted. And the captain just made sure with two absolutely fantastic goals.
Because Alan, if you remember, I think a few minutes after that, Chris Wood went one-on-one against Emi Martinez. Linesman gave it offside, but he wasn't offside.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. If that scored and they go back to VAR, but Emi Martinez was unbelievable. He stood up. It was a perfect save from him. I think everyone from Emi, defensive midfield, striker, everyone did fantastically well. And I mentioned Lindelof in the middle of the park. He was there just covering Matty Cash because the manager gave him a little bit, freedom to go higher, little bit, not unusual. But in their game, just go higher. Lindelof will cover, from you. And then he did fantastic. Super John McGinn leading the team like he's a captain, and I just think, as a former player and the players I played with, John McGinn, Oli Watkins, Kashi, Konsa, Martinez, all of them, they've been great servants for this football club, so they deserve something. John McGinn deserves to just hold that cup on Wednesday night and just make sure he writing his name in the history of this football club.
Oh, surely we'll have to get up a trophy, a statue or something of him, won't we? Surely, if he manages to lift the trophy, then.
Listen, I just hope he has one up in Andy Robertson. That'll do for me tonight. Let's deal with Wednesday when it comes. We've got something else to deal with tonight.
That's it. I mean, to be fair, Andy Robertson's got enough of his own, to be honest with you. Who's your man of the match for the Forest game? There were 8s, 9s, 10s across the board.
Boy.
So it was a thankless task, really, to be giving that man of the match. But, I mean, the stroke of genius, as you said there, for Lindelof, because when I saw the team sheet come through, I thought, wow, I did not anticipate this.
My eyes always drawn to forward players, strikers.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
And I thought Ollie Watkins was. I mean, and what's his name? The big Mavropanos?
No,
not Mavropanos. It doesn't matter.
Murillo.
Mikhailovic, or whatever his name is.
The M&Ms, yeah.
He had a proper wrestling match for a good 70 minutes. And Ollie Watkins, and by the way, he's playing with a bandage. He get headed in the thing, he gets a goal. And I'm completely biased, but Watkins, as a peak, as the apex of our team, was absolutely unbelievable. His movement was terrific.
Yeah.
And I think, well, listen, I always just think you're only as good as your strikers are, and I thought he was brilliant. But our midfield and everything, it was one of those nights where it was hard to point the finger at anybody, but I thought Ollie Watkins was absolutely incredible.
I'm going for Lindelof, you know, because the work he did, it's just unbelievable, you know. Different position. I think the manager played him once or twice, you know, when he came on, but he started a big game like that. You know, semi-final in the Europa League at Villa Park, with the atmosphere, with everything, with the pressure, and just handle yourself like he did. It takes a lot of experience. He's been in a big football club.
Yeah.
He played in the Champions League nights. He played in Europa League nights. So he got experience. He's a captain of his national team. So you need someone of his experience, and he did absolutely everything right. Yes, John McGinn was outstanding. Ollie Watkins, you know, Buendia, all of them, Emi Martinez. But I'm going for Lindelof because he wasn't a starter, but the manager chose to start him at one point, you know, in that game, and it was a perfect decision from the manager. And this is when you get like experienced managers, you know. He's been there, he did it before, and he knows exactly what he's done. So for me, Lindelof was man of the match.
Do you know what's been brilliant about Lindelof? He's been a brilliant signing for us.
Oh, he was the signing of a summer. Who anticipated that?
And at no time has he ever said in the newspapers, in interviews, or his attitude, or his body language, has said he doesn't want to be here because the manager won't play him every game.
Yeah. No.
I mean, he's been a wonderful model pro, and by the way, the guys obviously love him.
Yeah.
And I think Elmo's, I mean, he played such a huge part, but it's just great to have someone like that the manager can pinpoint, will take from another team and use him whatever way we need to use him, because he's been absolutely fantastic.
And of course, we know in a former life he actually was a midfielder, wasn't he? And then eventually he reverted then into defence. So, right, should we hear from the managers?
Yeah.
Unai Emery is actually doing an interview there. Seeing him out on the pitch before a game is a rare sighting, isn't it? So, yeah, hopefully we'll get to hear plenty more of him later on. But for now, though, here is Unai Emery and Arne Slot.
Good afternoon. Of course, everything is very important, and the moment we are having here, in the process we are, each time is very important. But now, how we are getting the end of the season with the target so close, the huge highest target, or the huge challenge we expected at the beginning to finish the season in the top 5 is really something fantastic. And tomorrow we are playing one team, favorite and contender at the beginning to be clearly, because last year they won the Premier League, to be there, even of course fighting with the Arsenal and Manchester City at the beginning, and we are with the same point like then. Of course, it's something fantastic, and something we must be so proud of it. And now is how we can test ourselves playing against them, and how we are testing with them, because of course Liverpool, they have a fantastic coach, fantastic players. Maybe they are not being consistent this year like they were last year, but they still being a fantastic team and players and coach, and it's Liverpool. And of course, to play tomorrow against them, the day 37 in Villa Park, with 59 points, and trying to test the match, how we are with them, is really something amazing.
That's one of the reasons why we're in the position we are in. And what I mean with that is we wanted to be higher or doing better this season, but we've dropped far too many points in away games. And as I said, but that's maybe always happening in the end of the season. You constantly feel you're telling everyone the same things. But dropping points in away games has mainly happened after playing in Europe. In games where usually Liverpool is able to win. Now Villa away doesn't matter if you play it after a game in Europe or after a week of rest, because it will always be a difficult game, but we've dropped points in away games against teams where we usually don't drop points, and that has this season happened far too many times after playing in Europe. And that's one of the reasons why we have not qualified yet for the Champions League.
If we can speak about our ambitions, yes, our ambitions, even in December we were fighting with Manchester City and Arsenal in the league, but of course we couldn't keep the same level they have and the same consistency they have for different reasons. And how we are now with Liverpool is, for me, is a fantastic match tomorrow. I am very, very motivated, excited. I am looking forward to test us tomorrow, as a team, individual as well, and in Villa Park to try to create a great atmosphere. And of course the supporters must be with us tomorrow, and should be a very good day, playing one match, 90 minutes against Liverpool.
I think one of the reasons why they are in the final of the Europa League and doing so well in the Premier League is because they have a big squad with many very good players, and a lot of players that are of the same level, same high level. If you don't have that, you're not able to go all the way to the final in the Europa League and do so well in the Premier League. So, and the good thing for them is that at the moment, they have one or two injuries, but not so many. So I think they are completely ready to go into Friday, to go into Wednesday, and then go into Sunday.
Yeah, good to hear from both managers there. But the first thing I've got to ask, what Arne Slot said there, whether or not, I'm not sure exactly what he meant, but the way it came out is that he thinks we've got a really deep squad. We know Unai Emery doesn't like to have a whole massive squad anyway, so do we? Is that why we've got to the final? I think I would have to dispute that.
No, well, I don't think it's listen, I think he's making more excuses for his own squad, to be honest, or his own present predicament that he finds himself as manager of Liverpool, not in a position where they want to go. We have some brilliant players and we do have a good bench, but we don't have a huge deep squad. I mean, we simply don't, and we've had to sell players that we didn't want to sell, just to keep in the right side of whatever you call it, PSR, whatever it's called. So I think it's a sideways swipe, and almost, I don't know, I was going to say it's an excuse, not an excuse, but I don't agree with them that we're that deep genuinely, in terms of having, so many players that could replace somebody in the team. We have a really good 11. We have 3 or 4 on top of that that do well for us. But certainly, come on, El, in you come, kid.
Where did you go?
We're just asking something about Salah, so sorry.
Arne Slot has said that we have such a deep squad and so many players,
and that's why we're in the
final of the Europa League. And I'm like, I don't think that's true.
Listen, Slot's only been here for 2 years.
And he's only having a bit of a dig there, to be fair.
He's only here for 2 years. And I remember last season when we played them, there was a fireworks before the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And he said, I don't know if they do that before every game or just a special one. No, Arlen. He didn't watch a lot of games at Villa Park.
No, does he know anything about Villa, actually?
Yeah, so I think he's missing a lot about, the culture or here in the Premier League, So I think he did well in the first season, but I think he just, when he's trying to put his hand on the team now, trying to sign a lot of players, he just missed out, So big managers, they react quick. I think he didn't react quick this season, so that's why they're not winning anything this season now.
I mean, I don't really mind Arne Slot. He's not somebody that irritates me in a particular way. But I tell you, in the last 2 months, he has had to defend like mad his team, his philosophy, his whole ethos on football, because the Liverpool fans demand more. We expect it from Liverpool because they're such a big football club, and they're in Europe every year and playing in domestics, and it just hasn't been like that. And to be fair, the players carry the can here, because I've seen a few Liverpool games and you're like, I'm not sure he's actually giving the manager as much as what he's got, so it'll be interesting how they play tonight.
Do you think he should be here at Liverpool next season?
I think he will be here.
Yeah.
I think he'll be here. I suppose it'll all depend on the start. They'll certainly give him till November, December, and then I don't know.
If you're asking me about, is he the right manager for the Liverpool Football Club, I say no, because I think he's not that standard, to be like Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola in big clubs. And Liverpool Football Club deserve a bigger manager, bigger personality to deal with the top players. He put himself in the situation this season with Salah, and I think he's the losing one, because Liverpool is losing Salah before his contract is finished. He has another year in his contract, but he had an agreement with the club to leave because the relationship with the manager. So it's a lot of things to take. When you losing a player like Trent, you need to replace him with the same standard. There's a lot of top players around the world, wants to play for Liverpool Football Club. So it's some decisions, he didn't make this season, and he's just starting to realize, he's not the right one for the Liverpool Football Club.
It'll be interesting to see how much money he gets to play with in the summer. They spent
450 million.
And I think, Alan, the only reason he's still at the football club because he won the Premier League last season.
I think so. You're right.
And it was just a little bit credit for him, in the fans. But start of the next season, if he stays, didn't get the result in September, October, he will be off.
Yeah. Can I just play devil's advocate for a second? Because of course, with his appointment, it would have been a 2 or 3 year plan. Was he ahead of schedule, or was that literally just inherited from Klopp, that Premier League winning side?
No, I think he inherited a very good. I think Elmo just touched on it there. I think he's inherited a team that was absolutely flying and full of confidence, and they still had the shades of the rock and roll football from Jurgen Klopp. And then I suppose he's tweaked it a little bit, but I will say the likes of McAllister playing Slobozlai at right back, and even Kerkez. I mean, I know it's cost a lot of money. He's come from Bournemouth. It's too much of a car crash for me. And it's a difficult position to get right, your fullbacks. But I don't think that's been a particularly good signing, in my opinion. They've got some very good football players. Wirtz has come in. I know Isak's been injured, but there's not a lot going right for Liverpool this year. But he'll have to get it right next year. I think Elmo's right. He'll be lucky if he gets to November.
Yeah, but I mean, like you say, he has been unlucky, but who hasn't been unlucky with injuries? Ekitike as well, getting injured, and of course cost a lot of money himself. Alexander Isak and all the money that he costs, and it just not going to plan for him whatsoever. So, as you say, giving him another year, what would Liverpool expect to see next year for him to be able to justify having these 3 seasons?
What they expect from him is to win the Premier League next season, and if he doesn't do that, he will be off. This is the standard of the football club. So I think they're going to give him the start of the season. If the results, didn't go their way, he will be off by November, But because I think he was so lucky at the start of this season, you see, first 5 games, they were top of the league. You know how? They win in the last minute. The team wasn't great, but they were lucky to get just, and you can see the start of they just, coming off. And then after that, they win 10 games, like losing 6 out of 10 or something like that, and drawing 3. So it's a lot of things went wrong, like I touched it before. Players leaving, you didn't replace them. And as well, Kerkez was one of the best players in Bournemouth last season. And coming to Liverpool, maybe, the pressure, the expectation of a football club, a lot of players find it difficult in the first season, and Isak is getting injured, Ekitike as well. He was one of the best players in Liverpool this season before he got injured, alongside Szoboszlai as well. So all of these things went wrong. So start again next season, we'll see what's happened with them.
There's a balance. Talking specifically on Liverpool because they're our opponents tonight, there's a balance being with Liverpool Football Club that sometimes you're given a little bit of leeway in domestic football because we're being so successful European-wise. They're a big team in Europe, everybody knows Liverpool Football Club, and they get a little bit of leeway. Next year, I think it's flipped. I think the pressure will be to make sure domestically they're in a position, like Elmo says, to be thinking about getting in a position to be challenging for those top places, rather than just being really successful in Europe and domestic will look after itself. That won't be the same for him next season.
And to be fair, Unai Emery, as we were just seeing there in his press conference, he almost alluded to that as well, the fact that Liverpool would have been favourites along with Man City and Arsenal for the league. And who could have doubted that when they won the league last year? 450 million spent and seemingly strengthening the team as well as having that experience. So Unai was saying that himself, but Unai was also saying the fact of how fearful, he's actually said it a few times recently in press conferences, how fearful he was at the start of the season for Villa. Didn't say it at the moment, at the time, understandably so, or throughout the season, but he has said it a few times recently. Do you think that that's a wise time to reflect on the poor start?
And we didn't have a great start, by the way.
Ooh, terrible.
And we've spoken about this before. I thought we had a really good pre-season, actually, and it kind of foxed me a little bit at the start we had. And I suppose in reflection, and when you look back, any season we played as players, you go through a spell where you're like, we didn't win in 3 games or something. You're like, and you get a little bit like that. But you have to kind of you get over the bad stuff, and we went through a brilliant run, and then with a couple of bad injuries that set us back a little bit. But we're still in a position, I think, where Unai thought we might get to. We have the potential to get to, and we're still in that position, and that's why he mentioned. I just spoke to you when we were listening to Unai Emery. He talks about ambition, and he talks about courage, and that's what we have to have. And certainly with the ambition to be a Champions League team, we're in a position where we have an opportunity to make sure that's something next year that we can all look forward to.
You say about the poor start of the season, it took us 5 games to actually score.
Yeah.
Can you name, here's a quiz question for you, Elmo, our very first goal scorer for the season? Can you cast your mind back?
Matty Cash against Sunderland away.
Was it?
Our very first not Premier League goal scorer.
Oh.
So yeah, that was our first Premier League goal. Can you name the other one? This is going to go down. It's a great pub quiz question.
In the cup, who did we play in the
Brentford.
cup?
Brentford away. Harvey Elliott.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, John
I was there. Yeah.
Well done, son.
I was there.
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then we lost on penalties.
Yeah. So still not crazy.
Poor Harvey. We're not mentioning poor Harvey.
Scored. Yeah, it was a good goal. You know,
Poor
it was
Harvey.
a good goal.
Really good
It was a good goal. Did well.
Unai actually spoke about Harvey Elliott as well, and I thought that was really nice for him to come out and say. Of course, he wouldn't have been eligible to play today anyway, with Liverpool being his home club. But I mean, it has been, hasn't it? Though, and we wish him all the best, of course, don't we?
It's been a really difficult situation, it really has. And I've seen him running around the training ground, and I've seen him in around the thing, and he's a lovely lad. I mean, genuinely lovely lad. And as much as it's affected him, because as a young player you want to play, you want to be part of everything, and Liverpool have a decision to make, and obviously I don't think he'd be coming to us. I think that boat's probably sailed, I don't know. But yeah, we wish him all the best, and yeah, it just hasn't. It's been a really weird, strange situation, Kate, because I can't remember anything like that ever really happened before to anybody else. What we got, kid? John McGinn.
As we were just seeing the Villa players coming out now.
Oh, Mark.
John McGinn getting his presentation. We're hearing as
No, it's Mark. Mark's been 50 years at the club.
Come on, Mark.
Mark McGuinness.
Wow.
50 years at the club he's been. That's absolutely terrific.
That is incredible. I'm being presented with the signed shirt as well then from John McGinn, and presenting Mark McGuinness with that shirt. If you're getting any sort of images, there you go.
Wonderful.
As we can see what you're seeing now over our shoulders. So
That's a great
congratulations
touch
to him.
from the football club.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
I'll tell you what's brilliant, because Brian Little's taken his picture for him as well, which is absolutely brilliant. And Brian obviously would have been the manager here at one point. If he's been here for 50 years, then he obviously knows the manager pretty well.
Thank you for flagging that, Elmo. That was a really nice touch, to be fair, wasn't it? And of course, there's a whole load of narratives coming into today. This is the final home game. Our final game being in front of this iconic stand.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, favourite memories in front of this? Any favourite goals in front of the North Stand, or what do you really associate with this? Because of course it's not going to be available for the entirety of next season whilst we're building the capacity, and of course therefore generating more revenue. All good for the club then in total. But in terms of what you can remember, I can see you're racking your brain to think.
Yes, I remember, because we played Leicester in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and I assisted Trezeguet's goal and he scored in that goal behind you. And that game, Leicester fans was here, and I was just like, taking, what I mean?
Yes.
Just annoying them after that. So this is my best.
That's
my
a great
best
one. That's a great one. Match that.
I can match it easy.
Oh, what have you scored?
This is where I scored the goal of the season.
Ooh,
in this goal.
Yeah.
I had 10 touches of the ball when Spinksy punched it out, and I ran from literally outside our box all the way and stuck it in the corner. And the other one was against Bruce Grobbelaar when we played Liverpool. And they were so jammy, and we ended up drawing 1-1. And Kevin Gage crossed the ball, and you remember Stevie Nicol and Alan Hansen clipped it to the back post, and a half volleyed it straight in the top corner. This goal, I swear to God, might come home with me. It means that much to me, I can assure you. I have unbelievable memories in front of the North Stand, I really have.
You'll be swinging off it later on.
I didn't score in that goal. My all goals
in the whole 10.
My favourite, 6 goals in the whole 10.
I mean, fair enough. That's not going anywhere, to be fair.
I scored against Liverpool as well.
Nice.
Yeah, but of course, it is. I know we're kind of talking about our favourite memories and everything there, but again, is it just an example of the club modernising and just making Villa Park? Because we all love Villa Park. Nowhere can create an atmosphere like Villa Park.
Yes,
but of course, it's going to be without it next year.
It's part of the plan, of the owners first, and secondly, this stadium is hosting the Euros in 2028.
Yeah.
It's part of the plan as well to get the capacity, and this won't be the last extension. There is another extension to this stand as well, for the future. So it's going to be great for the fans, making Villa Park, more people coming to Villa Park, enjoying the game here.
Villa Park has been the iconic stadium for semi-finals of the cup competitions. They had the Euros here. In fact, remember Scotland playing against Switzerland. I think Koisty scored in here. I think we beat them. Yeah. So it's been an iconic stadium, and it will continue to be so. But we have to modernise. We have to. I talk about the global footprint that we have within the football community. We have to keep up with not with the Joneses, but just with everybody else. So all of a sudden we go from 42 to 52, maybe whatever, and we modernise the stadium, but it will still be iconic for Euros, for semi-finals of cups, etc., etc.
Hosted England early this season.
Correct, absolutely. Absolutely did. So when Elmo and I talk about a football stadium, we've been so lucky to even been able to say we played for Aston Villa, but to play in a football stadium that all football players love to come and play at Aston Villa, it's just a special feeling. And we were lucky. We got to score goals. It was even better.
It's something about Villa Park. When we played for other teams, when we play here at Villa Park, it was my favourite away stadium to play at. It's an iconic stadium. It's just like the atmosphere and everything. You ask a lot of players, as well, their favourite, stadium coming to same Villa Park. Luis Enrique spoke about Villa Park last season after the PSG. He said it's my favourite stadium here in England. So it's a lot of things about Villa Park. So I hope everything goes well, so we can see this maybe after next season. Everything is finished and looks fantastically well.
I mean, there'll be a bit of an upturn next season, and then obviously we're going to have to be. But just think what it's going to be like. And what we've got to look forward to, Kate. I mean, genuinely, when you're modernising something and it's something of this size and this stature, you just need to park it and look forward. And then when it's there and it's ready for us to go into, it'll be such a proud moment for everybody at the club to look forward and say, this is what Villa Park looks like now.
Should we talk about today's game a little bit more? So Ollie Watkins in particular, we haven't actually mentioned him too much so far. So his form currently, 9 goals, 3 assists in the last 12 matches. Has he earned his spot on the plane?
Spoke about that a couple of weeks ago, about when he went off, in that England squad. I think he took things personally for himself, and he ended the season, couple of months to go, and then make sure that he's in the plane with the England team going to US. So he proved the manager wrong. He proved Thomas Tuchel wrong. He was here against Forest, and I told him, listen, Thomas, this butcher has to be on the flight, I said, he just gave me a little smile, so Oli was outstanding that night as well. Like I said, when he put that bandage on him, he looks a different player. So I messaged him, I said, Oli, you need to keep that bandage until the end of the season. Make sure, you know.
So many people saying that. I think they said it in commentary. They said, is it giving him superpowers or something? He wants to head everything.
He looks well as well. He looks so good on him. You know? So just keep it on.
Not many people can pull
and
that
then
off.
he had a little blaster on him, you know, against Burnley. He scored as well. So, yes, after that international break, you know, when he came back, took things personally, and then he's just trying to prove a point for himself first and for everyone else. He makes sure he finished the season well with Aston Villa. He got a great opportunity to write his name on the history of this football club first, and then he got a chance to go with England to make history as well in the World Cup.
Oh, he's hoping so. From a striker's point of view, what have you made of his goals so far this season? Has there been any sort of collective or anything that you can read through him? We'll have a look back at some of them now.
Yeah, I mean, I like it when he makes himself available sometimes when the goalkeeper's got the ball and they play that long one over the top. This is a good one. This was in Bologna last week, isn't it?
Yeah,
for sure. And he takes it really well. And listen, I'm completely biased. I love the boy. I think he's fantastic. I said to you ages ago, it'd be a massive mistake from Tuchel if he doesn't take him. And I think, and by the way, he's had parts of the season where he's looked a bit lacking in confidence, and you know, I said we were laughing and joking. Remember when he scored his 100th goal here? Yeah. I said you put your shoulders back and you stick your chest out, and you carry the hopes of the football club on your chest, and make sure you make yourself available. But some of his goals this year have been so important, and he's on a good run just now. Did you say he'd been involved in 14 or?
In the last 12, 9 goals, 3 assists.
So there you go. I mean, and we're coming to the end of the season when players are tired, when maybe you can think you're losing a little bit of concentration, and that's not been the case. And Ollie Watkins has been absolutely fantastic. And you do go through dips in the season, and Ollie did go through that dip. But what was even better, Kate, is he showed unbelievable character to make sure he had not just potential, but the energy and the desire and the courage to come back and make sure we have such an end to the season like we're having at the moment.
Against Van Dijk and Konate, what kind of a game does Ollie Watkins need?
Van Dijk's worst nightmare is Ollie Watkins.
He said that.
Spoke about it, you know. So, you know, Konate, I think he's having like an off season this season. He wasn't.
Do you think he can be got at?
Yeah, I think, you know, and
he can this season.
Yeah, and Ollie's kind of a player, you know, both defenders will hate to play against. As a striker, when you just running behind all time, you know, and Van Dijk and Konate, especially Van Dijk, when you get to his age, he doesn't run that way, you know. He always wants to see Ollie in front of him, be careful. So today, I think, you know, Ollie will score against them. He always scored against Liverpool, especially here at Villa Park. So I think he will give both of them a hard time tonight.
We talk about his overall game. Is that just as important tonight as his finishing?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Because as a striker, sometimes if you're not scoring goals, then you need to be part of the team and you need to influence something else that's going to help us get a space, get a yard, take a defender away, etc., etc. And Konate's not. By the way, I've already said defensively they've been nowhere near as good, Liverpool. And Konate's one, Gomez is one, and certainly Van Dijk, who incidentally his measured of composure and performances have been absolutely top class, but this year it's not been the case, and that's why you're sitting in the dressing room right now giving it, let's have a go, let's have a right go. We can look forward to Wednesday when it comes, but right now we have a chance to turn over one of the biggest clubs in the land. Is
it going to be sustained pressure or those quick transitions that are going to hurt Liverpool from a Villa perspective tonight?
Yes, it's exactly the same, you know, trying to go through the midfield, Tielemans, with Joe McGinn there, you know, Morgan Rogers just carrying the ball. It's going to be a threat for them today. I think Morgan, you know, he's always performed against big clubs better than others, so I think it's going to be massive for us tonight, you know, just providing service to Ollie Watkins. Buendia has been magnificent. I think he was one of our best players as well against Forest. Did very well, score a goal and assist a goal to Ollie. So it's gonna be the midfield the key today. Talking about Liverpool, yes, they're not that great like last season and that, but they still got a lot of good players in that team, you know, especially McAllister and Szoboszlai from the midfield, you know, with Kagbo on front, Curtis Jones as well. There's some good players there, they can hurt you, but we have to just look at ourselves first, you know, make sure we do our best, make sure we do our jobs, make sure we give 100%, make sure we get a result before the final tonight.
You nearly got moved down when we lost Kirkes then? He got unbelievably close to you and you didn't even flinch.
So I didn't feel him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's the closest he'd ever get to you, Elmo, to be fair.
I was going to say, Elmo would skin him. That's as closest as he's going to get to him.
That's it. Is Tom inside the man to stop, though?
I think he's been, I really like him.
Has he been their player of the season?
I think he's been really good. I mean, and he's also been asked to play in positions where he probably doesn't really want to be. But, you know, so you're talking free kicks and, you know, bullet shots from outside the box, never mind. And by the way, he likes to put his foot in as well. He's a little bit one where he's not like
it's
a
just
shrinking violet,
the technique he takes, you know, the ball, the ball moving, you know, he's got a lot of good goals, you know, from free kicks and shooting from outside as well. So he's the biggest threat as well for us.
And we need to be aware of that. I mean, I'm talking about we have an opportunity to win the game. Naturally, we do tonight with the home team, and we've got plenty to look forward to, and have put ourselves in an unbelievable position for next year, Kate. But in terms of him, you've got to be respectful and know how good a football player he is. And certainly him, of all the other players, would be one I'd be just wary of for sure tonight. The rest have a lot to prove to their manager and to their fans here tonight because they haven't been at it, Liverpool.
We know, though, they have a very good record over Aston Villa. Apart from, can you cast your minds back a few years to that 7-2, though? That was the last one. I mean, another one.
I was playing him.
Were you?
But it was COVID, you know, it was just like a strange time for everyone, and absolutely it was sad. The fans wasn't in the stadium to just recognize that. Yeah, it was an outstanding game. Yeah, absolutely. Every shot, Alan, every shot on the target was a goal. You know, I think Jack Grealish, you know, his 3 goals or 2 goals took a deflection. 2 of Olive goals took a deflection. So everything was going well for us. They were missing Alisson, I think, at that game, and Mo Salah scored twice. Like I said, he always scored against us. So it's a good thing he's not starting tonight.
That was a bizarre time, though, wasn't it? But as I say, they do have a very good record over Aston Villa. However, they have lost 8 away games so far this season. What is that down to, do you think, why their away form has been poor?
Well, like I said, because I don't think they've been at it at all, and some of the performances from the players haven't been good enough. I mean, there is something, and I always say this, Aston Villa are one of the clubs that you have to carry a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure on you to win football matches, because if they expect Aston Villa to be in a position where they're at the right end of the league, Liverpool carry the same amount of pressure, and if you can't handle it because the pressure's too much for you, then it's just not going to happen for you. And I think when you go away from home, you've got a target on your back. Aston Villa have our targets on our back, so do Liverpool. They haven't managed to cope with it. With a bit of luck, they won't cope with it tonight either. But we're sitting in the dressing room already thinking they haven't been good enough, but let's put them under enough pressure to make sure they make the same mistakes and we get a positive result tonight.
Now, we've managed to hold it off well enough to throw it forward to Freiburg, though. But how much of an eye do you have on Wednesday night?
Yeah, so excited for that game. You know, it's I think the biggest night for the football club for so long now. You know, 40 something years.
4, if my maths is correct.
Yeah, it's a long time for the football club. So yes, everyone is excited. Of course, you know, the owners as well is exciting because it's a big night for them as well to own this football club, and then to bring a European trophy to this football club. It means a lot for them. So yes, everyone is looking forward to it. So yeah, I think we're doing the show from there as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
How special will that be to send the lads away on a win?
I don't have one eye on it, I've got 2 eyes and everything else on it. And I'm still even thinking about the game now. I genuinely am, just subconsciously, I'm just aware of how big it is for the club. But having said that, I know, you know, when we played against Liverpool, it was one of the biggest games of the season, so you've got to concentrate on tonight, and it's coming, we know it's coming, but I can't help stop, like, just thinking about it, because I know it's there. And it's going to be a humongous moment for the football club. And by the way, we go in as favourites as well. Yeah. So with a bit of luck, the guys can do their job tonight, and then we can really look forward to Wednesday.
It's going to be a massive night for the fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot of fans, you know, they start traveling from yesterday.
Wow.
You know, to just make sure to just make the memories, you know, to live the moments as well. So it's going to be massive for them. Maybe a lot of them, Alan, you know, they didn't see the football club win a trophy in a long time. So it's going to be a good moment for them to see maybe John McGinn, you know, holding that.
I can picture it. I can see it.
Holding that cup on Wednesday night. Yeah. So finger crossed for everyone.
Right, lads, we've only got a minute left. So predictions time for tonight, not ahead of Wednesday. Tonight.
I'm going 2-1. Ollie Watkins and John McGinn.
Ollie Watkins, John McGinn, 2-1 for Elmo.
1-0. stop them scoring, we'll nick a goal, Ollie Watkins.
Oh, stunning. We would absolutely love to see that.
Absolutely.
And then we can all send the lads away on the back of a win there. And we normally say it's a goodbye, don't we, when it's the final home game season. This isn't that. This is a send-off, isn't it? This is us wishing them well then to go and hopefully lift the first silverware for a generation for a very, very long time. So thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy tonight's game. Lads, thank you so much to the pair of you for all of your hard work and company as always. Mark Regan alongside Cillian Petrov to talk you through today's game.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Villa TV. Welcome to Villa Park as well, beneath a cloudless blue sky for the final home game of the season.